youth in Kenya, the content that was being shared on the platform was inappropriate, thus promoting violence, explicit sexual content, hate speech, vulgar language, and offensive behavior, which was a serious threat to the cultural and religious values in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, and you see, Honorable Speaker, this is coming at a time when in the last 2 days, in the social media space, there is a lot of discussion about a man who is said to have come from Russia and who, in quotes, Honorable Speaker, has united the nation. And Honorable Speaker, uniting the nation in Kenya in the digital space is a person who is talked about by the entire country in the social media space. And Honorable Speaker, one Bob Dolo, in his petition, sought to have TikTok regulated. And so the committee sat and listened to all these stakeholders, and they agreed with him that we do not need to ban TikTok. What is needed is regulation of the same so that what is consumed by Kenyans or by our parents is what is good for our country. So, Honorable Speaker, the committee came up with the resolutions, which I would like to go through so that I also give members an opportunity to contribute to this matter. That the Ministry of Interior and National Administration and the Ministry of Information, Communication, and Digital Economy collaborate to ensure to enhance user protection and cyber security on social media platforms, including TikTok, and reports to the House within 4 months upon adoption of this report on, 1, the mechanisms for enhancement of age verification on social media platforms and localization of Kenyan user data to be retained within the country, such as setting up of local infrastructure for data security by the platforms. 2, the digital literacy programs to create awareness on data privacy, processing, and storage, and community guidelines by social media platforms, including TikTok. 2, that within 4 months of adoption of the report, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner engages social media platforms, including TikTok, and reports to the relevant committee of the House on levels compliance with the laws of Kenya, including the Data Protection Act 2019 and its attendant regulations. B, details on the effectiveness of age verification and content filtering. C, implementation of Kenya-specific supplemental terms in its privacy policy, considering the provision of the law and the social media platforms, including TikTok, have customized the data processing to comply with Kenyan laws. 3, that the Departmental Committee on Communications, Information, and Innovation introduces an amendment to the Kenya Information and Communications Act, CAP 411A, to mandate the Communication Authority of Kenya to regulate social media platforms in the country. 4, that the Ministry of ICT and the Digital Economy monitor all social media platforms in the country, including TikTok, to address the concerns in their content moderation by 1, or A, auditing of the artificial intelligence AI moderation system to identify the loopholes to enhance continuous improvement of the system. B, D, ensuring the human content moderators have adequate psychosocial support. E, provision of information and reporting options to flag illegal and inappropriate content. And 5, that TikTok and other social media platforms without monetization policy introduces a monetization policy in the country to enable content creators to earn directly from their content. 6, notes that a total ban of TikTok is not tenable because it infringes upon fundamental rights and freedoms in this country. Further, a ban of social media platform would stifle social and economic growth and benefits of internet connectivity, as the nation seeks to enhance its digital economy. However, the committee recommends that social media platforms, including TikTok, be regulated and periodic compliance reviews by the relevant state agencies be institutionalized. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable TJ Kajwang to second.
Member for Ruaraka.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I thank the chair of Petitions Committee for finding favor that even though I'm not a member of this committee, I'm called upon to second. I have read, Madam Chair, the report by the committee, which is before us, and I want to support it, and I want to second this motion. You see, question of TikTok is an important discussion which we must have because we are leaders, and the Constitution has given us the mandate, especially of oversight. And oversight involves issues which concerns the people and for which the institutions are made. But we are also parents, and we have children. Those in my age, and I know the member for Tharaka is one of those who are in my age bracket, are raising. Oundo is fairly young, but I think he could be in the general bracket where I am, and I'm sure yours faithfully is somewhere a little young, but floating somewhere. We all have teenage children. They are outgrowing and are becoming adults, but we worry every time. First, our responsibilities as parents to be able to instruct these children in the best way possible, lead them by example, and also nurture their spiritual selves. They may not all be Christians. They may not even believe. They could be even apostates. But every parent would wish that a child leads a spiritual life which is effective and which leads him or her to be a moral person who is effective in national building or building the world. And so the question of TikTok, we must speak about it. When you saw young people here who came to taste the food we had there and said that the pili-pili was not good enough, you could see some of the issues which they were raising and how they organized themselves and how robustly they debated. There was a disconnect between the leaders and the young people because the communication platform was not even. And so, if we don't discuss this and listen to it with the ear of a young person, we may not, we may miss the mark. You see, the question of TikTok raises pertinent issues for lawyers, for example. There is the question of data sovereignty, that every global world claims data sovereignty, data privacy. It is an integral part that if you want to live a dignified life with integrity, there must be an amount of privacy as a person that you must withhold. It even goes beyond gender privacy. It goes to human being. As a human being, you must be clothed by God-given rights to have privacy in terms of what data can be harvested from you, management of that data, custody of that data. But there is also a big question of national security. If we don't look at national security, we will expose ourselves to harmful effects that could very well, undermine our security. And the question of mental health is real. We live with these children. Some of them are in rooms which we created for them. We've built those rooms, but they lock those rooms until they cannot be able to engage with us. They come at midnight to look for food. And sometimes they don't even ask their mothers. Because they don't want to interact with us because we do not have a platform which is equal to them. But mental health, it's a big issue. Children are now struggling with issues of, self-harm. In those rooms, they can harm themselves. Sometimes because of the content that they consume, and without regenerating it within the society. So there is the real problem of self-harm due to these materials. So you wonder the question, the legal question that I hear my colleagues asking, the duty of care. Where does the duty of care, which is a principle in issues of management of socio-economic affairs, the duty of care? It is a company in China, right? That company of China has done a wonderful platform that is now has gone across the globe. But does that company owe a duty of care to our children? Right? So the question of that duty of care and the legal burden is on that company, the Chinese company, to explain to what extent would it be answerable to harmful issues of the platform that they have. In most jurisdictions, we have moved, we are not, and I'm glad the committee is not prescribing banning, because banning, for example, in India, that is what they do in India and in some of those, but they do it. And India is a very stable economy and a big economy, but they do it all the same. They have banned properly Tik Tok. They've just banned it because of national security and so on. But I am glad that we are not moving that direction, that we are moving in the direction of robust content moderation and regulatory control and oversight. We have to create an oversight deliberately to be able to monitor and to give our children things that are useful for them. I am told, I am not an expert on this, but Honorable Mrugari tells me that there is something called filters. There is something which, there's a way in which they can filter this information so that not children, everybody, especially, for example, children under 16, should not be exposed to some of this. But again, they should also be exposed to education material, because they run those education material even on TikTok. Nowadays, we are CBC parents. We have come home and we are teaching children even through the TikTok. So we'd have to have a situation in which there are information which can be passed to a group of people, but cannot be reached by another group of people. African customary practice, and this is something which we as a people and adults in us and parents in us must speak about this clearly, even at the expense of being very, of children saying that we are too conservative. In an African customary practice, children must obey their parents. It is biblical. And you must say it at home. Even if children don't like it, we must say it. That they must obey their parents, because we also obeyed our parents. And this is how we seem to be. Now, I see that leaders, give me a few moments, I put together this, I'll just be finishing in a few seconds. Leaders are abused everywhere. Young people have no regard to leaders. In fact, it is a virtue to speak negatively to a leader. It is a virtue to abuse your parent. It is a virtue to expose your parents even to some things which are, sexual in nature, profane in nature, immoral things. They find it very laughable. African customary practice must be maintained because I'm an African, because that is what I am, and I'm proud of it. We have to teach our children. They are not going to become Europeans. They are not going to be Chinese. They will still be Africans. So parents must speak with authority that...
1 minute, Honorable TJ.
We must speak by authority and say that there are things which cannot be done and things which must be done, because that is why we gave, we sired these children, and we are leaders for the time being until they become adults. So the question of cybersecurity, for example, the only thing that I wanted to bring out, I have seen recommendations made by the committee, but there is this recommendation saying in 280, for example, that Kenya Information and Communication be amended to mandate. I would have wished that you would have brought to us a text of amending that regulation inside this report, so that we just don't go back to the committee in charge of, we are going back again. You would have told us what section to add so that we give the Communication Authority the power to be able to regulate this industry and to give us the content that we have. I think that because we have that constitutional mandate, so why are we still going around it? We should have come here and put in the report, and the next time we have a bill before us, so that we create an authority, we create a mandate within that authority to be able to regulate. I beg to second. Thank you so much.
Very well, honorable members, I therefore propose that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of the public petition number 41 of 2023 regarding regulation of Tik Tok in Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 25th September 2024. Minority Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I just want to thank the committee for bringing this petition. And Madam Speaker, I'll try to be very brief. Madam Speaker, with the advent of technology, we have seen many new positive ways of doing things, even though it also has brought in a lot of challenges. Madam Speaker, as we speak right now, because of technology, I'm actually contributing in Parliament, but I'm also in class because of technology. But Madam Speaker, I can also say that it has also brought, if you give an example of AI, that when we are actually doing work in class, we don't know how to navigate around issues even of AI. Madam Speaker, for instance, when you put in my names and particulars, my usual names and particulars, it actually appears as plagiarized because I'm all over social media. So, and it's one of the things that we must, as a House, be able to deal with very quickly and very fast on how we deal with the technology. And I listened to Honorable TJ Kajwang talking also even on the issue of culture. And Madam Speaker, it is bringing very many challenging issues. For those of us who are born, who are now in our 50s and 40s, we have a totally different culture from the younger people. So when we speak about African culture, their culture is technological culture. For the younger people, their culture is technological, it's not African. And how do we then as a House deal with the issue that technology has brought to our doorsteps? How do we nurture and bring up our children within systems where other people, there is somebody in the US who is raising up your child through technology. And that is why we must be very brave as a House and confront some of the good things that it brings, but also deal, and we must deal very fast because technology changes very fast. And I'm glad that this person has raised, I know Bob Ndolo, I'm glad that he's raised the issue of TikTok because a lot of the younger people are actually on TikTok. Madam Speaker, some of the good things that we have from TikTok is young people are able to socialize. Of course, it takes away, FaceTime that we had some of us playing bladder, playing all manner of things. And these children no longer do that a lot because they are all in social media, they are all in TikTok. Madam Speaker, it also has provided employment for quite a number of Kenyans. For a long time, I didn't understand that. I'm very happy I was sharing it elsewhere, that have actually contributed a lot to employment because I am caricatured a lot on TikTok. And before I understood actually how it operated, I would call people and say, I just want to thank you very much because you have really promoted me. They said, Millie, and they are making money off you. So when I saw that, I said, it's okay, let them caricature me and make money out of me through TikTok. So it's a good thing, especially now that we have the issue of unemployment. Madam Speaker, it also provides civic engagement for the young people, which of course then can also, bring other challenges, like what we saw in 2024, that through civic engagement, young people were able to challenge Parliament, even on bills that we are passing. And then, of course, through TikTok and other social media platforms, they were able to even come right into Parliament. And Madam Speaker, those are, are challenging times for us. Madam Speaker, it's also an entertaining platform. It's a platform, information sharing and all that. But Madam Speaker, as a child protection expert, however, I just want to indicate that there are things that we cannot negotiate about. And we cannot negotiate about the issue of child protection. And for me, Madam Speaker, therefore, it means that the issue of explicit sexual content cannot be made available to young people. And also, there is predatory tendencies. I know that there are laws that are already providing for that, but we must be very clear about what age can access what information of young people. And Madam Speaker, it's not just explicit sexual content, but even a variety of things. For a lot of us, even in the Children Act, we talk about giving information to children depending on their evolving capacities. But in social media, we are not looking at children's evolving capacities. So we must be brave as a house, look at experts, look at, experts in this sector, look at experts in different sectors, because technology now we look at issues of law, we look at issues of child protection, we look at issues of technology, and a myriad of other issues. So we must be brave and confront them every single time. I think we need to be looking at these issues almost every month on issues of technology. Madam Speaker, I think because I see my time is up, I just want to say we must be careful, however, not to gag. If you could just give me 1 second, Madam Speaker, to conclude.
1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to say that even if you see the way this that has now been spoken about, the Russian person case, Madam Speaker, it also brings the issues of racism, because we need to speak to such issues, because there are people who want to exploit the vulnerability of poor African people by coming in here, seeing that women are so poor. People are thinking, and then because we have not nurtured and trained our people, that we are beautiful enough as black people, the moment you see a white person, you think that they are heaven on earth. And I want to challenge our women that we need to see our men in Kenya as good enough. Why we look at men in Africa, see them as good enough. Not everybody who is white is heaven on earth. I'm not saying white people, there's something wrong with white people, but we need to guard against certain forms of neo-colonization, where people come here and ridicule and shame African women and misuse them. If you have sex with somebody in private, why do you want to make it a public affair? It's not anybody's business. But that is why, Madam Speaker, I don't want to talk about the name regulation, because when you talk regulation, people misunderstand. But for sure, there are certain content that you do not reach us. Madam Speaker, I see nowadays, sometimes you just click on something, suddenly you see young children having sex in pools. How is that even possible? Such certain things should not even be regulated against young people. It should not come to my page if I don't want to see it. So there are certain things we must be very brave as a house and confront these issues head on. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
Very well. Honorable Murugara.
Yes, you have me. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, also allow me to actually support the report by the committee and allowed the gentleman, Bob Ndolo, who brought this petition to us. Also allow me to allow the chairperson of the Committee on Public Petitions, Honorable Karemba, is here with me, and he's doing a good job. For a long time, we have had problems with that committee for reasons that possibly were known to all of us. But now the committee is on track, and Karemba is also a member of my committee, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. He never misses even one meeting. At 10 o'clock, we are together, we start with him, we finish, and then he goes to public petitions, and he does it very well. Not that I think he needs to grow in Justice and Legal Affairs Committee too, where he's doing a good job. Madam Speaker, it is true we should not ban TikTok. It's one of the social media arms of communication. I may not know a lot about it, simply because my age doesn't allow me to know some of these things that happen with our little children out there. But from what I have heard about TikTok and what I know it does to young people, there is absolute need for us to regulate it. We can do this through statute, or we can go to our ICT Act, amend it, the Communications Act, amend it, and we have regulations that will actually guide us on how this branch of social media is going to be handled. The stakeholders who came to this particular petition were all candid that there is need for regulation. Not even one would advocate for saving it away from a ban without regulation. Because if we don't regulate it, then we ban it. And there are some positive aspects of TikTok, including the youngsters who actually say in their language that they are content creators, which content they create and they post it on TikTok, and through whatever means, I don't know what it is, they are able to earn some money. And we agree that with the degree of unemployment in our country, it behoves on us to ensure that available money is tapped and used for the benefit of our youths. However, we should not derogate from our responsibility. As Honorable TJ Kajwang has said, we are Africans and we must protect our culture and cultural practices. Those practices include taking care of our children, giving them advice, admonishing them when need be, so that we are able to grow children, nurture children who are actually responsible citizens in this country. So here comes the government making certain recommendations through the chairperson of the Petitions Committee, which recommendations are useful and which we should actually support, so that as we use the internet, as we use ICT and the other modes of communication, then we do not expose our children to danger. We must also not abrogate our responsibilities as parents. As you hear Honorable TJ saying, these youngsters come home to the rooms we've set aside for them, lock themselves in there. You don't know what they are doing, and you don't hear or see them until the wee hours of the night. And that cannot be a virtue. I think we should be more, as parents, involved in the growth of our children, so that we bring up responsible citizens away from some of these vices which come to us through TikTok and other applications we find on the internet. Therefore, I do support the recommendation by Honorable Karemba that we should regulate TikTok for the good of our country. I support.
Very well. Honorable Anderto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to this very important motion, and to say that from the onset I support the sentiments of the committee. Madam Speaker, we live in a very lucky generation. In one generation, we have seen the advent of the internet, the smartphone, social media, and now AI. Madam Speaker, just to remind you that the World Wide Web, as we know it, is just a 1991 invention. So as a generation, we are very lucky. And these inventions have fundamentally reshaped how we live, how we parent, how we govern, and even how power is exercised, just like we saw in this country, in 2024. Madam Speaker, even thinking about banning TikTok would raise a few fundamental issues. One of it, Madam Speaker, is that this would be a complete violation of our Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression. And, Madam Speaker, even if we were to ban TikTok, we would need to ban all the others, because the youth would just move to the other platform and to the other platform. And also, from a technical point of view, I know that there are very many workarounds. The same way people in China today use WhatsApp, although it's banned. People in India are using TikTok, although it's banned, because there's always technical workarounds around these things. The second thing, Madam Speaker, is the economic opportunity that we would be sacrificing through such a ban. It is important to note that TikTok, and indeed all other social media platforms.
Honorable Wandeto, would you like to be informed by Honorable Mushomba?
I don't wish to be informed.
Continue
unless
then.
you insist.
Continue, do not expound on it. Just
Thank you.
or not.
Madam Speaker, the second issue is the opportunity, for revenues. Today we know that hundreds, if not, hundreds of thousands of our youth, and not just youth, including older people, are now deriving economic opportunity from the use of social media. And this has come in handy in an economy or a government that doesn't seem to have very good ideas on how to create jobs for the youth. The third one, Madam Speaker, is the economic opportunity. Today, just in this house, we passed the digital taxes, which now we have some of the multinationals that are in this social media platform, and even indeed some of our digital content creators, joining the formal economy and paying taxes. So, Madam Speaker, what we need to think about is strengthening regulation. Because as Kenya, we cannot go the route of countries such as Somalia, which I know has banned TikTok, countries such as Iran, countries such as Afghanistan and the rest, which are extreme cases which Kenya cannot borrow from. I think we should focus on three things, Madam Speaker. The first one is strengthen regulation. And the data protection, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner needs to be strengthened to be able to have teeth to bite some of these companies when they are not properly moderating content. I am aware companies like Meta and even TikTok itself have local offices with moderators who basically are always looking at what our people are posting, and they are always, checking and moderating what is happening. The second one, Madam Speaker, is we need to start a curriculum to also teach our children how to, navigate this new world that we find ourselves in. So how do we ensure that we introduce, part of the curriculum, mental health issues, even taken to our institution, so that our people also do not suffer a new addiction called social media. So, Madam Speaker, I will conclude by saying that we should not even think of banning. What we need to do is to strengthen regulation and governance around social media. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity.
Very well said. And just to to guide you, Honorable Member Forteto, this report does not say ban. It actually says regulate. Yes, just to be on record. Honorable members, just to guide you, you have 5 minutes. Kindly arrange your thoughts so that you take the 5 minutes. I am seeing like you're being caught off guard, thinking it's 10 minutes. The next chance will go to Professor, member for Moiben, Professor Bato. What is happening to Professor? You have 2 microphones. Okay, no, now one.
Shifting. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also make my contribution on this motion on the consideration of TikTok banning or not banning in Kenya. And I want to laud the committee for such a very elaborate presentation on TikTok. And Madam Speaker, I think it's not just in Kenya where we are grappling with such an issue. I think it is world over. Countries like America, USA, China, India, I think it's just a debate which is world over. And Madam Speaker, it takes me down memory lane once upon a time when the issue of mobile phones started, and also the issue of computers. And everybody was wondering how the world would be, how the future would be, and it became a big challenge, but now it is behind us. Phones are with us, computers are with us. I think perhaps what we need is a robust social media regulation in its entirety, so that we can comp out everything which affects us in its entirety in as far as social media. Madam Speaker, the other day I was looking through a PhD thesis for one of my students, and I sat down with a big document the whole day, and my son came and he was like, "What are you reading the entire day? What is it that you are looking for?" So I said, "I'm examining this thesis," and he said, "Can I have the evaluation tool?" I gave him the evaluation tool in soft copy and the thesis in soft copy, and within 5 minutes, he gave me an entire report on what I was writing. And surprisingly, it was almost similar with what I was doing. So I sat down and said, okay, how analog am I? I mean, these things are moving faster, and that is even what is happening in our classrooms. Even the National Examination Council now is having also challenges on how to examine our students. Even in the universities, in lecture halls, it's becoming a big challenge. It's a debate which we need not just do a superficial work, but we go deeper, because it is going to be there with us, and it is going to be there for a long time. And we are members of parliament, and it is in parliament where we make laws. So it is upon us now to sit down and come up with regulations, come up with laws which govern this media in its entirety, without also infringing on the Chapter 4 of the Constitution on the Bill of Rights, because it's also another story. So what we need to look at is maybe to censor content, look at the content and censor, protect minorities like, vulnerable people like children who become all the time victims of media, because it is not possible, or it has reached a stage where it's not possible to manage young people, even if you are a parent. Like for me, I can be a mother and I have my kids, and there are some things, it reaches a time when they will just say, "Mom, you can't go beyond here," even if they are my children. So we need to put in place structures, maybe come up with a procedure on how to handle this, and that's what I said, a robust social media policy, and make it work for everyone. Look at even how to monetize it so that people can make money, and look at it positively, other than misusing it and maybe creating explicit content which is not good for our children, which is not good for us. I think if well regulated, it is going to take us to another level. It is not something, it is not bad. It is something whose time has come, and it is high time we sit down and we look at it and see how we can benefit and how it can boost communication and content creation, money making, everything. I think regulating it is going on the right direction, because it is going to be there with us for a long time and we cannot run away from it. It is something which is not bad. It is good. It's on.
Very well. Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join colleagues in supporting this report of the committee. Honorable Speaker, I first of all want to thank the petitioner and thank the committee for changing the thing from banning to regulating the issue of Tik Tok. Honorable Speaker, I think many of us have said it would be unconstitutional if we were to ban, and it's good that now we are talking about regulation. But all said and done, Honorable Speaker, I think there are benefits associated with TikTok, even as we talk about the bad things to do with the TikTok. One of them is sharing information, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you realize that within a very short time, information is able to move from one corner of this country to the other corner through TikTok within a very short time. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, I've realized that very many of our young people are actually making money out of this. And this is good for the economy because of the level of unemployment. Most of our people have gone to school, they have several degrees in their pockets, but they're not able to access any form of employment or genuine employment. So anytime they're able to make any coin from this TikTok, I think it's something worth supporting. The other thing I've also discovered, Honorable Speaker, because TikTok also brings some pictures, and that helps most of our people also to get to know who is who in terms of leaders and all that. But all said and done, there are also some negative parts of it, and that's why I support the word regulate. And I really wish that we become more serious on regulation. Because as Honorable Kajwang did say, I think we still remain Africans. And as Africans, there are things which are not part of our culture. It is not part of our culture, Honorable Speaker, to see people in their natural suit, irrespective of where. Whether you are an old man, whether you are a young person, we don't expect Kenyans to do things when they are in a natural suit. And I think that's something really, to me, anytime I look at those things, I feel bad as an African. So I think we need to encourage our people and tell them that at the end of the day, we still remain Africans. It's good to admire foreign culture, but we must realize that those things look unique to us, look funny when our parents, when our elders see these things. So the issue of regulating, Honorable Speaker, is a matter we really want to support, and I think we need to empower our bodies which can do that regulation, so that the content which goes out there, Honorable Speaker, even if they say make money, is also in line with our culture, and we don't really get this thing blown out of proportion. So I totally support regulation. What I don't know is who is supposed to do that, and I think as we move to the future, I know we have the Communication Authority in Kenya and all that, but Honorable Speaker, you realize, even in the past, we have said there are movies which have been shown on television, on cinema halls, which should not be screened on the basis of age. I don't know what we'll do to ensure that we factor in the age element, because to me, what is critical is age. There are things as Honorable Member can see, and I will not mind. There are things which my son will see, and he might not be comfortable with that. There are things which my mother, who is elderly, would see, and she cannot believe. She will think this is a culture shock. So all these things, Honorable Speaker, I think what we need to do is, we need to come up with a system whereby we can filter this information so that the information get to the right different age groups is the right information. If we do that, Honorable Speaker, I think we'll be safe and home. At times, you see very young children. You know, these days, that I think is part of the upbringing, that anytime you go to a home, you find for the young ones to be fed, they are given a phone. They are in the cartoons or watching those things, Honorable Speaker. And what is happening at times, you might be surprised with the kind of the content, because the content is not restricted. So we are saying basically, let's come up with a very strict way of restricting the content. And if we do that, Honorable Speaker, we will be taking care of the advantages of TikTok and also taking care of the disadvantages, or what I call content which should not be publicly screened to every handout or to every young person. With those my remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also stand to support the committee report on the regulations of TikTok. Honorable Speaker, for me, first of all, this is very exciting because I remember when the petition by Bob Ndolo first came to Parliament, all of us were really looking forward to get the views of the different stakeholders and to also have an opportunity to debate. And the reason, Honorable Speaker, why this is very important, and maybe just for context, is the economic value that comes with these spaces, and especially TikTok. Because, Honorable Speaker, when you look at TikTok, some of the top TikTokers, when you look at the top 10, they actually earn annually, in terms of Kenya shillings, 2 billion. With the guy who has the highest number of followers in TikTok, 650 and above, who is currently at a value of 20 billion in terms of his wealth, and that's from TikTok. So that shows you just how economically viable this particular space is. But also, Honorable Speaker, in as much as we do not want to be in a space where we are stifling innovation, we also want to ensure that the innovation is properly regulated. And Honorable Speaker, I've seen some of the issues that came through from the stakeholders and also from the committee members, especially when you look at the angle of the current regulatory space within which we are. Because there are two aspects to this. There's the human moderation aspect, and then there's the artificial intelligence aspect. And for us as a country, and the company that has the mandate to actually help us in regulating this space, the reports have shown that they have not been able to do enough. And one of the reasons, Honorable Speaker, is because when you look at the different laws we have within our country, including the KICA Act, when you look at the Cyber Security Act, all the regulations that we currently have do not speak directly to social media. And Honorable Speaker, I've seen the recommendations that have been done by the committee. The recommendations, if you pile up all the things that they actually want to be done in terms of the law infrastructure, it will take us a very long time. So for me, Honorable Speaker, I think the most viable recommendation will be an aspect of an omnibus bill, whereby the committee of CII can come with an omnibus bill that seeks to look at all the specific laws that involve social media regulation, because again, we are not just looking at TikTok. We do also have Instagram, we have Telegram, which has even more explicit material currently. We need to have a set of laws done at one go that are able to actually regulate all these spaces. Honorable Speaker, the other thing why I agree with the members who say that we cannot totally ban TikTok is because the world is currently in the Industry 4.0, otherwise known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, that really supports the use of machine, the use of intelligence, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, so you cannot avoid this. But also, Honorable Speaker, the recommendations from the Public Petition Committee are very futuristic in the sense that the world is now going into the Fifth Industrial Revolution, which seeks to ensure that there's an actual combination of artificial intelligence and human intervention working together for the social benefit and the ethical arrangement of the world. So for me, once we are able to actually do this and have this in place, as a country we will be in the space of where the world is going into, the industry 5.0. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to join fellow members in also just supporting this and recommending that we do have the setup of these laws as soon as possible, so that we can have some of these issues that came into light cured. With those remarks, I support and I submit. I thank you.
Thank you. Moses Kirima, member for Central Imenti.
Thank you. We have seen it being addressed in foreign countries, and a number of countries are banning it, especially seen it being addressed in UK, India, and also in China, and also in America. And the origin of this TikTok issue is from China. But to us, see, a country like Kenya, the establishment of this social form of communication or form of giving and disseminating information to people like us by the youth is an essential or commodity. Because first and foremost, Madam Speaker, if you walk along the Nairobi street on a weekday, you'll be surprised the kind of the youth who are lining the streets, especially on Sundays, creating content. And those content end up in the TikTok. And when they do the same, they earn some money, which at least if they are not employed, it creates jobs. It creates jobs for them. More than that, it helps to disseminate information to the other youths who are not yet exposed, and if it's used on the right manner, actually it's going to be a very big form of employment to our youth. It's not necessarily that a TikTok is used in a manner which is going to cause to be injurious to our youth or to our children. In one or the other, when it is used properly, it really become a benefit to the families, because even the youth, especially now when we are facing a lot of hardship, the economic hardship and the lack of employment in our society, in the Republic of Kenya, TikTok is of much assistance. And mine is to say that we require prudent regulations which, if they are used wisely, it will be able to manage and control what is poisonous to our children, and make sure that it is not really criminalized, but it's going to be managed in a way that it will not be able to, will not expose the children to those what is not good. If we look at the things which we say that they are an African or they are not culturally right, Madam Speaker, we should not forget that culture evolves. A number of things which we say or which we look at them as if they are obnoxious are this during our hard time in age. With the current generation or with the current children we have, those who are between 25 and below, to them they are ordinary, and especially even when it comes to dressing. You know, sometimes back you could not see a girl dressing with clothes which could not cover their knees, but these days they even they dress to an extent that things are even I don't know what is hidden and what is exposed, because it's all the same. So to me, we shouldn't be able not to curtail the right of communication for our youth, trying to gaggle the TikTok issue. But the law shouldn't be applied prudently, especially when we look at the acts which exist. There is the Cybercrime Act, there is the social media rules and regulations to control the same. And as for that, those acts are in one or the other providing enough cover and protection to make sure that if they are obeyed and followed properly, surely TikTok can be able to exist. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I really support this bill.
Thank you. Member for West Mugirango.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this great opportunity to also support this report. From the chair of the Petitions Committee, with whom I share a sitting in JLAC, and this is his first report I am seeing, I have been underestimating his ability, but I'm now convinced beyond doubt that the Petitions Committee is doing a fantastic job. Indeed, he doesn't carry himself as one who can deliver such a fantastic report. Humility usually is with very clever people. Madam Speaker, technology is an enabler of every service delivery. And any technology, including the TikTok we are talking about, should only be regulated, not banned. And for that reason, I thank this committee for living with the times and for making the 13th Parliament a proud Parliament that would regulate any product that comes to this country rather than being selfish and slow-moving by thinking of banning it. When you look at other mainstream media, there is regulation through the Media Council. And as the mainstream media is regulated, so should be every media, including social media, including the TikTok. And I urge inventors, particularly those in social media, to rise to the occasion like the mainstream media rose and set up a self-regulation for themselves. It's unfortunate that it is Parliament now pushing for this regulation, meaning therefore that these inventors are not living with the times. I have noticed that we are saying the social media unregulated is only dangerous to young persons. Madam Speaker, I think bad content is bad no matter the age, because it is not a license that once you are an adult, you go exhibiting your nudities and what is done in bedrooms and splashing them in social media. A bad thing is a bad thing for anybody, and that moral decadence should be stopped for all ages. Adulthood is no license for exhibiting immorality and annoying, particularly those adults who are not very lucky to all the time live with their spouses. You can imagine how disturbing it can be for such married but unaccompanied adults. Madam Speaker, it is also important that through this regulation, every content gets ownership. You are all aware that cyber bullies take advantage of anonymity and unregulated environment to bully anybody they target, including political competitors. It is therefore important that through this regulation, every content creator takes responsibility. How I wish that we got a mechanism of licensing any content creator. We got a way to track who owns or who has created what content, and those who target defaming or adulterating people's reputation, they should be held to account. Madam Speaker, we must insist on this regulation so that those who are propagating their prejudices through religion, through other idiosyncrasies, such people should be made to account, and it is with those few remarks that I support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Through you have learned there is a new category of married and unaccompanied people. Member for Nyeri Town, Honorable Marenke.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the report of the committee recommending that we regulate social media platforms, including TikTok. And I would like to correct maybe the impression that could have been created by previous speakers on the floor of this House who have referred to banning of TikTok. Nowhere in the recommendations of this committee has the issue of banning TikTok been addressed. And in fact, it is the position of the committee that banning TikTok would be contrary, would violate our constitution. So let it become clear that the proposal is on regulation. And
Honorable DMM,
yes,
we were very clear that it is the petitioner who had proposed the ban, but committee has proposed regulation.
That is what I wanted to come out clearly, Madam Speaker, that the committee has actually declined to ban TikTok as per the petition, but has gone a step further and recommended a regulation, and it's not just for TikTok, but social media platforms. Honorable Speaker, the regulation could include self-regulation. Like we have community rules and community standards on WhatsApp and other social media platforms. But most importantly, Honorable Speaker, is that as we regulate, we must appreciate the economic contribution of social media platforms, especially in an era where the globe has gone digital. That we live in a global village, and the definition of work, as traditionally we have known it, has been completely disrupted and changed with the advent of digital platforms and digitization. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the regulation that we propose, even as we confer the powers to regulate on certain bodies that are existing, like the Constitutional Commission and the Ministry of Interior, it is imperative that these regulations must be supportive of the economic opportunities that the digital arena continues to provide, especially for our young people. Madam Speaker, the AI, the artificial intelligence age, is uncharted waters. It holds potential opportunities. In fact, it is being said that the next millionaires and billionaires are going to be made by the AI space. And therefore, our regulation must be as forward-thinking as possible. It must capture the reality of what our young people are able to do positively using the social media, but at the same time, protect us and as a country and our communities from the negative side, from the negative unintended consequences and also side effects of the digital space and social media use. Madam Speaker, our Constitution guarantees a lot of rights. But at the same time, the Constitution also does delineate very clearly the limits of the enjoyment of those rights. And therefore, these regulations, the proposed regulations that the committee has recommended, must also ensure that we operate within the boundaries, clear boundaries that are set within the freedoms that are provided by our Constitution. Madam Speaker, the other issue is the question of data protection in the social media space. And this is an area that a lot of infringements have happened. Madam Speaker, I support with the rider that the regulations must be supportive of the exploitation of the economic opportunities that exist. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mule.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise to support the committee's, the Public Petitions Committee's recommendation to regulate the TikTok as a digital social media, but not to ban as the petitioner had requested. One, we are moving to the digital world, so we cannot tend to move backwards. Everything is getting to digital, and that is the route that we should take as a country. We should not go back while others are going forward. Like we have AIs that is in the digital space, and as a country we cannot afford to ban TikTok. However, when TikTok was introduced to the country, there was a lot of heat that brought with TikTok. Like, for example, we used to have people going, it was called going live on TikTok, where people, you used to see nude photos, people doing these funny acts of making love on this platform, which brought a lot of heat to the country. And I guess that is what was pushing this petitioner to petition the ban of TikTok. But lately we've become of age, and it's settling, and the right content is coming. And again, some of the other things that warranted the banning of TikTok was the impact it would have on national security, because the TikTok, you cannot have the authenticity. We cannot be the information that is coming out would not be authentic information that comes out of TikTok and might cause national security. However, it has several advantages. One of the advantages of TikTok is it creates monetary values, like many have said, many contributors have said. For example, the young people are going live, and the young people are making money when they do the content creation. In these social places, like in my hometown, you find that many young people are occupying the social places. And when you ask what they are doing content creation. And from the content creation, they make money. That is one way of engaging the youth so that they can make money. Another thing is, on the advantage of TikTok is easy way to communicate. If something happens, like right now, it goes viral, meaning that it's like you are getting real-time information. So with TikTok, communication is very easy and gets to everywhere. Another advantage of TikTok is you learn so many great things and good things. Not only bad things are learned from TikTok. Like, for example, you can learn cooking various foodstuffs. You can learn cooking fish, making eggs, making all types of foods you can learn from watching TikTok. And also, it is very informative. Like, you can learn how to repair phones, how to repair cars, how to repair. It's a good thing when you use it properly. And also, it is very entertaining. TikTok it's very entertaining. I find myself spending a lot of time being entertained when I go through and flip through the TikTok. Again, it's a way of advertising your products. If you want it to reach to many people, TikTok, you can really advertise your products easily. But however, there are two things that can better.
I say time is 5 minutes. Your time is up. Honorable Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues on commenting on the petition by the Petition Committee. But just want to correct my colleague, TJ Kajwang. I have adult children, even though I have other now children phase 3. And see, that's how life goes on. So I speak for these ones who needs to be protected in life. Honorable Speaker, we find ourselves in a conundrum. Technology has come, and we have no means of restricting the expansion and growth of technology. But we must also admit technology can be destructive if not well managed, if not well regulated. Honorable Speaker, there is a common joke now going around. The greatest challenge faced with the world at the moment is artificial intelligence and natural stupidity. Those are now the joke going around. That those two combined together, they're going to destroy this world. And we just hope it will destroy other, but those of us, the old geezers, will remain because I think we can deal with it. Honorable Speaker, I'm a man who believes in freedom of expression. I'm a man who believes that everybody must be given a right to say whatever they want. And the only thing we can do, I might not disagree with you, but I have got a constitutional right to protect your right to say so. The same way, let people use social media whichever way they want. But unfortunately, as my seniors have said, we are an African society guided by certain norms and values. We just hope and pray, and I want to appeal to those who use social media. Of course, when the petition came to ban TikTok, I was apprehensive because any attempt for Parliament to sanitize such kind of a request will actually be unconstitutional and be playing in the hands of those people who believe this 13th Parliament has got a challenge. And these challenges, we'll talk about them, regardless whether we are going to be expelled or not. Honorable Speaker, we must protect the young ones. In Australia, they have banned the under 16 in social media, simply to allow them to develop their faculties naturally as expected. I've just been Googling, I'm told TikTok is banned in India, Afghanistan, the restrictions in US, Canada, Australia. Let me also admit, to go on record, I've not joined TikTok because I've been told it's bad. So I will need to sit with my young adult children to show me how to use it without hurting me or damaging my minds. Honorable Speaker, I just want to go through, there's a recommendation here, which I read somewhere, that requires a bit more explanation, and probably about those people who manage the backside, the back end. Is it called, Irene, is it called back end? Back end, whereby they must be find a ways of ensuring their cycle, their social life is protected. And I think that's an area that we need. Yes, ensuring the human content moderators have adequate psychosocial support. Because for us to regulate, to ensure we only churn out what is positive, there must be somebody sitting behind to make sure that ban or that regulation is enforced. I do not know if I have got the capacity to see the kind of nudity, the kind of negative, to see all through. I'm sure there must be a way, they must find a way of being supported, otherwise they will break down. Honorable Speaker, I still believe let's use social media safely, judiciously, in a manner that promotes our culture and a manner that promote family values. I would not go for any ban if any regulation should be in such a way it does not stifle creation, content creation, innovation, but protects especially the family and the young children. For that, I support the petition and I commend him, and this is how the petition committee is working. Thank you.
Honorable Njeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I do take note that the petitioner had prayed that TikTok is entirely banned in Kenya, and appreciate the committee for disregarding that request. Honorable Speaker, I will deviate from the contributions that have been done on this floor and confirm that I am an active TikTok member. And I use a platform to educate the young people on the legislation initiatives I undertake on the floor and other constituency engagements. Honorable Speaker, I have read this report extensively, and my law lecturer taught me to always look for the devil in the details. And I do ask myself, why now? What is the rationale behind it? How extensive will these regulations be? Will they be used to stifle dissent, to stifle key fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution of this great Republic of Kenya? And I ask this, Honorable Speaker, because we do not live in a vacuum. We have seen that autocratic governments that seek to govern absolutely stifle any means of communication that the young people use to reach out to each other, to engage as a community. Besides, I have heard members say that they saw very graphic details on TikTok. TikTok operates on a very sequential algorithm. It operates on a For You page. So it feeds you what you search for. It feeds you the information that you're looking for, Honorable Speaker. And, Honorable Speaker, it is therefore important that perhaps before we utter some things on this floor, we are aware of how TikTok operates. Honorable Speaker, countries like Bangladesh, when they had restrictions on TikTok during election period, the country went down in ruins. So it is imperative for this report to capture the extent of these regulations that will be proposed on TikTok and any other social media platform. Oftentimes, Honorable Speaker, when people feel that perhaps the government is trying to stifle expression of their rights, we always see explosions, and we do not want to see that because we know that we are nearing the election period in 2027, Honorable Speaker. The morality of a society is a mirror of that community, Honorable Speaker. A lot of immoral things, or things that would be categorized on the sphere of immoral, are happening, Honorable Speaker, not only on social media platforms. Some of them are being perpetuated. When young people are killed by the government, that is something that is immoral, Honorable Speaker. So it is not only about social media platforms. We must get to the devil in the details in regard to these regulations. Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, TikTok has been a platform where community matters, social matters are addressed. It is a support community for many young people and others in the society. At the advent of the 2024 protests, when young people were arrested and most of them could not raise cash bail, I engaged a very popular TikToker who goes by the name Gedaiga Washai. And I'll leave it there because those who know him, know him. And we managed to raise a tune of Kenya shillings 1 million, which paid cash bill for young people who come from underprivileged backgrounds. So this is a platform that, yes, regulations will be there. We must be told to what extent. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Ibrahim Sanei.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, TikTok has both good and the bad. The good things ordinarily don't need any regulations because they are good. What needs regulations are the bad things. And here we are discussing on the bad side of TikTok. Advanced countries that have industrialized are the ones who are the source of these technological advancements. And in doing so, they are not friendly to our cultures because of our incapacity. They are not friendly to our values, Madam Speaker. So the need for regulation is mandatory. If we don't regulate, then there will be legal suits following. There will be financial losses for businesses and individuals. There shall be damages because of defamation and the kind of thing. And operational damages because of misinformation that are related to the contents of that negative TikTok. Madam Speaker, there is so much defamation on persons, communities, companies, any entity that is being publicized and regulated all over without control, bringing damage. There are things of criminal nature that goes through TikTok that needs control. Madam Speaker, businesses are being damaged because of business rivalry. Some contents, if not controlled, cause undue negative rivalry. Madam Speaker, there is a lot of immorality, nudity, promiscuity propagated by TikTok. At night, in as much as we always stand for a 24-hour economy, our boys and girls are in petrol stations taking pictures that are not within the standard of the norms and cultures of the African society. Madam Speaker, some of the things happening in TikTok border on national insecurity. That needs to be regulated and tamed. Madam Speaker, with artificial intelligence, anything can be done on your photo. Anything can be said about you that is not yours. Impersonation, propaganda, filthy things about a honorable member like you, Madam Speaker. We need to manage this. Our social values are eroded. We can't just be importers and acceptors of anything that comes to us. As a country, we must have mechanisms to regulate the bad side of TikTok and maintain the good side of TikTok. That's what I mean. Madam Speaker, that is my contribution. If you would allow me, tomorrow is the beginning of Ramadan. I would wish from the floor of this House, and it is equally an ash day for our Christian brothers, I would wish to take this moment to allow a very peaceful Ramadan for Muslims and a happy Ash Day for our Christian brothers. With those few contributions, I support.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sanei. And as a Christian, the Ash Wednesday is not just a date followed by the Lent season, so it's also going to be together with Ramadan. Honorable members, I know there is a lot of interest, and unfortunately our time is up. This debate will continue, so you will have the opportunity to make your contribution. Be upstanding. Honorable members, and the time being 7:02 p.m., this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 18th February at 9:30 a.m.